Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to this surprise episode of Caves of Cud. It turns out, after seeing the ending, the way we saw it, I was really curious about what Barathrum being alive would have added to that sequence, and I figured I had to find out. And if I was going to find out, I had to show you as well, right? That just seems fair. So, over the last week or two, I have played another character from from scratch up to the ending here in roleplay mode to ensure that I got there in a reasonable amount of time. And I have needed it. This character has definitely gotten in over their head a couple of times, including right here in the final battle of the Spindle. I died more than once. But you can see we are here in our golem. This is a Svardim golem. I never managed to get along with Svardim, but I did manage to convince one to come back to Great Gate with me to have the golem patterned on them. I'm not going to get into the whole long history of the life of our character and golem pilot, Cheesefries, the face chimera, who has a very normal and natural body plan that looks like this, where I have a head that has two different faces on it. One of those faces has a fifth arm growing out of it. There's also a head coming out of my back with an additional face on that. And yeah, it's been a whole situation here. It's been a big weird thing. One thing I will say is that walking around the desert in the early game, I managed to stumble, just blind luck, into the mouth of Shogruith. One of the Nephilim, one of the Gersh Nephilim just lives in a big hole in the desert, and I stumbled upon it randomly. Obviously, I did not try anything on him when I discovered the thing at level 7 or whatever, but I came back later and after a heated battle was able to slay it. And this character is an axe dismember type character, so I was able to cut off a piece of it to bring back and use as part of the golem, part of the inspiration for the golem. And so our golem has the crazy Gersh Nephilim laser. I was going to say, you know what, I'll walk away from the front of the place before using it just to not upset anything. But this is where I ended up killing the other Nephilim that shows up during reclamation. So this place has been iris dual beamed all to hell and back. But yeah, look at this. Take that, everyone around. You press it once and it does the whole sequence. But yeah, that was pretty fun. That was absolutely key to killing the tougher Putis Templars and the Nephilim, because it turns out aside from that, I built a pretty not very good golem. I used blood. Here's the sort of layout. It's a very normal just body layout. We used a Metachrome Zetachrome long blade for the weapons because it's all I had, and we just have that. And I included light manipulation because I was like, you know what? Light manipulation at level 10, that's a fair amount of damage, but I wasn't really thinking about like laser penetration 13 with a base damage of like 8 against the high mech or the Gersh. Is just like, this laser was wholly not up to the job. In the end, I had to just iris dual beam and then dance for 30 rounds and then iris dual beam and just do that to get through most of the difficult fights, and it was definitely a challenge. I used blood as the catalyst, so I figured, you know what, we won't need regeneration because I will just heal for 10% of the damage I deal. No, not sufficient. Actually, a really bad plan. Golems heal very slowly if they don't have regeneration. So basically, I screwed this all up, but it's fine. We're past the part where any of that matters. At this point, it is time to just go and do the thing. Apparently, there's a historical site I didn't... Oh, it's in the... Yeah, whatever. There's a historical site I didn't do because it is in the Rainbow Wood. This character has had a lot of weird shit happen to them. But anyway, as you saw when I stepped inside the golem there for a second, Barathrum is alive. I was able to keep Barathrum in one piece by keeping him inside the golem and keeping the golem safe by running away a lot. And so, let us become Starfreight with our friend together to see what he can add to this process. It turns out this door just opens. You don't have to hack your way through from inside. All right. So you and me, Berthram, we got a lot to do here. I assume at the very least, he must have something to say during the conversation with Rashaf, right? Okay, and now we are a Spartan body just walking up the way here. Hey Berthram, how's it going? We've done it. Oh yeah, also our character's name is Cheesefries. I don't know if I mentioned that. Only in the shallows dawn stirs did I let myself think it was possible. And now, let us sort our faculties before we reach the rim of our ascent. There is the edge of our journey still to lathe. Okay, so the Templar are defeated, but will they return in force? I cannot say, Cheesefries, but I know it's facile to believe a living heritage can be evanesced in one stroke. We are always downstream of a past violence. Yeah, that is troublesome. Berthram, you look pained. Are you well? Berthram shifts his weight, pauses, and flexes an arthritic paw. I am sorry. 'Tis the acceleration, Cheesefries. Noble Cheesefries. I am whirling and empty of breath. Steel yourself, and so shall I. So, by your guess, what awaits us where the spindle breaks? Oh, Cheesefries. Oh, Cheesefries. Our cursors draw together on fate's phenomenon slide rule. You burn with speculation, and I molder in the coolness of knowing. I enter my dwarf phase. Berthram takes in a long breath. Oh, deceit, the grueling gate I crossed on every tilt of glittering dusk. I slept in my crime clothes and wept, did you hear? Or could you hear only the damnable static, like me, and speak naught to the machine that belches it out? Heal none of the wounds of its grievous heart, or mine own. Oh, so much to bear. Your crime clothes. You know, there was a codex about crimes and punishments near the bedroll in your study. What was it? So if you don't remember, in Berthram's room, there's a book that's called Crime and Punishment, and it's not clear if it is the book that we know as Crime and Punishment because the text is completely unreadable. It's very, very old, and it's just completely worn to being basically just a rag. Berthram pauses, and then he laughs. Still, the brow narrows in performance even as the play ends. The mask must peel off. What? No mask? Berthram gravens suddenly. I am sorry, Cheesefries. I wish not to unnerve you with uncharacteristic lightness. You nor the rest deserve this. That codex? A comfort, a guidebook, a ledger. My crimes have no signatories, but the heart is its own document. All right, what are we talking about here, Berthram? Berthram pauses and frowns. Do you know, Cheesefries, the engine types that ask us to loose every pin and unhinge every cam to know them? Such an engine of culture we are encased in now, and I cannot speak to the workings of one gear set without disassembling them all. I meant not to tease, and soon, I promise, you will spy the next arc of our journey. Berthram, if the past has some relevance to this moment, I would ask you to share what you know. Also, I'm finding the dancing around it to be very annoying. Berthram sighs. It is done then. Have the explication you are owed. And then he shoots us. You see, Cheesefries, when I, a young Bruin, crossed the Homs Delta with my flood-fleeing clan and into the western reach of Cud, the plagues of the Gyre were already ascendant. We took root at our new hearth, in the chrome grottos where we Urshib find natural peace, and, by the providence of my elders, I was able to study the tinkering craft. Through my work, I caught the attention of a master machinist, unconventional of method, who took me under her wing and, in time, availed me of the Orphic truth. She explained, as I've shared with you and the rest of the acolytes, that the world we know once belonged to a grand coven of beings who spanned the stars, and that, acting on some inscrutable logic, they disappeared, that an injunction was placed on our world. This you know. It is the truth I told, if only half. But Rebecca taught me more. I'm going to be honest with you, I do not remember... The first time we met Berthram and really listened to his story was actual human years ago, right? Like 4 or 5, I think. And I guess I didn't go through it again slowly within this playthrough. So I did kind of forget that Berthram was the original source of our knowledge about the Coven. Well, it's here now. Atop the implausible rise of the spindle roosted a seraph, one of the great machinic archons of the Eaters, and this being Rebecca served. In the short years before I arrived in Cud, the seraph became convinced that something had changed in the cosmic order, that along the ecliptic of the folk clock, some uncounted peg had slid to a priming position, and that the Coven was set to imminently return. The folk clock? The seraph spoke of a great machine that spawned galaxies, the motion of whose sails and gear trains directed the fluidic shifting of stars and cultures. But they spoke little of it, and little I know. Berthram coughs and swallows. To ready our world for the Coven's return, the seraph, who would be called Reshef, became convinced that all higher life on the planet must be purged, that it was our life and way of living that moved the Coven to set the injunction. The only way through was for a new life to obtain. And so Reshef seeded the plagues and whirled them via waveform to a breathing gyre, blights engineered to attack life whilst preserving the planet's artifacts of glass and chrome. Rebecca, dear tutor, betrayed Reshef's confidences and apprised me of the plan, so that I might help her dash it apart and save the peoples of our world. Berthram coughs and exhales a pained whistle. Together we beseeched Reshef, begged them to reverse the gyre. I pleaded, Berthram wheezes. I asked for time. Give me time to reform Cud, extinguish the hatefulness and needless war-making, to lift our world across the eschaton and prepare it for the Coven's return. After a storm of shrapnel words, the seraph acceded to 10 centuries. 10 centuries. An eye blink on the scales of the folk clock, but an eternity for us. So I believed. The rousing signal would cease, the plagues of the gyre would be reversed to the extent they could, for even the potent Archon had not full governance over what they had worked into being. Right. Well, what would there be for the Coven to return to if life on our world was purged? I asked Reshef that very question, but the Seraphim transit an ethical manifold much different than our own. Boy, that's a way to put that, huh? Very, very fucking gentle way to put that. And Reshef is remembered as a healer. And he was, of a sort. The cure for a plague is often, too, its cause. With one's paws on the dials and drum of power, history is a cloth to be loom-spun. So, why had Reshef become Sultan? Once the Seraph had become convinced of the Coven's return, they reified their authority and assumed a more material role in on-world matters. The decaying Sultanate was a convenient tool. Okay. So how did the agreement play out? This would have been good information to have before having the conversation with Reshef the first time, that's for sure. That said, I'm sure a lot of people lose Berthram. It's really, really easy to lose your golem if it's not built in particular ways while you're fighting the legendary High Mech, and then again while you're fighting the Gersh Nephilim, especially if you don't know about Gersh Nephilim in the first place and you get caught by that laser the first time you're fighting one, because that thing does, like, I think the one time I got hit with it while I was laser dancing with the Nephilim, it did like 400 or 500 damage to the mech. So we allied on the notion that the Sultanate must be abolished for the future to flower. I was to execute the earthly plan, while Reshef continued preparations at the astronomical tier. To achieve a sort of bicameralism of action, Reshef insisted on reformatting their personality as a triumvirate, seeded from thin scans of the original Archon, Rebecca, and myself. The art of myth-making was employed to enshrine the Reshef persona, thus the healer, the coiled lamb, and, perhaps unexpectedly, the above. Oh, that's interesting. And what happened to Rebecca? I ask, as though I did not already know. I mean, I know where Rebecca ended up, at least. Reshef would not forgive her trespass. She contracted the rotting tongue while abetting the lepers of Suwon Ghetto. When her time came, Reshef would not let her return home. Oh. Berthram expels a hushed whimper. So you did not succeed, by Reshef's measure. Berthram whimpers. What? Who's there? It's me, Berthram Cheesefries. Oh, good, Cheesefries, good. He's really coming to pieces here. It is indeed his dwarf face. So if the signal sounds and the gyre widens again, then you did not reach whatever watermark Reshef set, right? No. Cud is fractious. No lasting peace is obtained. I tried. For decades on decades I tried, our paws on the tiller, to shim together what blossomed in the wild. The restoration of machines, the federation of free sovereignties, the nourishing rituals of salt and star, the sacred, the profane. In the late years I saw the writing on the wall. I turned us inward, retreated to my candle-dim study to angle at the project alone. A new plan was... Berthram starts panting. Berthram heaves a great sigh upon the moist air of the control pit. Berthram stumbles to the floor with paws to his face. But I've failed it. I have failed. 1,000 years too short, and... more time. Berthram weeps. I am debased on the plank across the light of God. Do I have a rightful claim to pity? Blindness. This darkling room abjures the light. Is this the house of judgment, Hortensa, or mere penumbra, the child's play cave, and law and language not yet invented cast their forcing functions back through time to puppet the unblossomed mind to civilized shape? Each of us is a sick animal in a darkling thicket, each cursed with machinery to compress the clamor of echoes into bees, mothers, mountains, country. How many millions of snow-sick years to sow a feeling substance into an agent of the world, a felt and machine animal, and in so doing to stuff the whole of the world inside the agent, an inarguable document of its falsity. For agency is in its very definition the world in containment, acting on itself. I mean, first of all, buddy, like, it's... The task set before him was... He seems to have believed it was possible, or maybe he has now convinced himself that he believed it was possible at the beginning. But it's so hard to imagine... I mean, listen, I was never young and optimistic. It's hard to remember ever being young, and I certainly don't remember ever being an optimist. But I think for some people, they grow up with the idea that the world could change. But so much, right? To unite everything that's going on in peace, more or less, in 1,000 years. I don't know. I guess it sounds like a long time, but then perhaps the greater bodies whose agency I share the smaller cut from, might share too the greater portion of my meal in blame. Winding Svai, thou art devious in symbol shape, like serpent Baal. Hinnom, for blooming alga thou cross thy perches back. Shiftless moon, sun, proud and idle sun, silver father of the protoplanets, claim mine selfhood and be done with it. Berthram weeps. So, why ascend the spindle then? For what purpose? Berthram's countenance suddenly burns bright. Did you know, Cheesefries, I harbor a memory older than even the flooding of my hearth cave, a gleaming ancient tale told by my elders to the nippy cub I once was. In the age of the Covenant, a coterie of our Earthship ancestors took to the stars to ply their burning cores. Can you envision it? Oh, I know a secret. I know. There is a functioning starship atop the spindle. We can take it, Cheesefries. We launch ourselves into the deepness of the dusted cosmos and find the starship. You and I. Oh, starship. Starship? Starship! 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 Berthram. Okay, he's very excited about this. I like to imagine it's gone from like excitement into a chant, and now he's just like parading around the inside of the mech, pumping his fist. Starship! 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 Buddy. Berthram mumbles inaudibly. The control pit dissolves to silence. Do you want to wait until the ascent is done? I guess so. So, okay, what if we did that? What if we took the ship and we just fucking bailed? And we went and we found the starship. They've got to know stuff. They've got to be powerful in some real and meaningful way, right? And with whatever technologies they have and stuff, they could come back with us, and at the very least, we could help whoever wants to come with us off-world, right? We could build new starship. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Setting up a starship foundry on a world that... I mean, maybe. One can do wondrous things on Cud, as we have seen, in many ways. I wonder what Berthram would think of... Sorry. Our golem's a little silly looking. I wonder what Berthram would think of the way we ended the previous game. You know, Nutria going back to tend the garden the way Berthram did. I mean, like, this extra piece of information that Berthram gives us. It's not even that I went back to tend the garden like Berthram did, because Berthram's goal was to reform all of existence, and I don't think that's what Nutria went back to do. But Nutria went back to try to lend aid where aid could be lent, and like the Coven comes back or they don't come back when they're going to, and the thing is, like, as far as we know, Reshef became convinced they were going to come back based on absolutely nothing. We have no idea why they left. And we have no idea if they ever intended to return. And we certainly don't know that the signal that he's interpreting as their attempt to return is indicative of that at all. You swell with inspiration to name your jacked, scaled, six-fingered precision nanon fingers. Do you wish to? You know what? Yes. I would like to name them based on their qualities. Cheesefries' mitts. You're goddamn right. What's a good color setup for these? I want something rainbowy. Do we have access to one that is just like rainbow? Yeah. cast isn't bad either, honestly. So yeah, because I have 4 arms, I have 2 hand slots, and so I am double equipped with such things. In case you're not familiar with precision nanon fingers, it's a type of glove that triples the percentage-based chances of things that your weapons do. By default, it triples your crit rate at the very least, but because we're an axe build, you know, the chopping. And I did manage to find a disc for the serrated quality, and so our axes have been modified with additional chance to dismember, which is tripled by the gloves. And because I have 2 pairs of the gloves, it's a higher chance to dismember. I don't know exactly how it stacks. It doesn't feel like it's multiplicative. I think it's additive based on just observation. But anyway, it's a lot of chopping. We're very good at chopping things. I have survived many combats by cutting off 3 people's heads in a row. Bertram's countenance suddenly gravens. Oh, I know it to be arduous for you, Maven, to see me like this. The imago unstrung. I mean, Bertram, you might be overestimating the regard that I hold you in. Not to be mean or anything, it's just like... I am sorry, Cheesefries. I am so proud of you. I wish it were I did not peel like your model. Farewell now, Maven. Cheesefries. Live and drink. Sorry, what? Bertram has left my party? Has he now? So just to close out, like, here's what Cheesefries looks like in the end. If you're thinking, hey, those stats look pretty high, it's because I got lucky early on. I found an Eater's Nectar injector, broke it down into a drop of nectar, was able to polygel it a few times, and I actually did get the cooking effect of gain 1 in all stats to fire 3 times over the course of the game. So that's a lot of free stat points. Yeah, in addition, so I made a chimera. The plan was, you know, axes and limbs and whatnot, right? But mostly I kept, every time I took a new limb mutation, I kept growing more faces and heads. I did eventually, the very last time I mutated, I got an arm to grow out of one of my faces, as you saw. But yeah, it was mostly that. I didn't take any defects at character creation, but I did get both cold-blooded and spontaneous combustion just from being near gamma moths too much. And it is kind of funny how these offset each other. Your quickness increases, your base quickness is lowered, but your quickness increases as temperature increases. And then sometimes during combat, I catch fire. That it kind of helps, actually. And we're tough enough that, like, I have learned that I can conduct combat while on fire for an extremely long time without it becoming a huge danger to me. So yeah, it's been weird. Also, I finally got the electrical generation and jacked thing going on. Not that it matters terribly. So hey, Bertram, what's your plan there, sir? He left the party. Is he just going... Here's the thing, my quickness is low, my move speed is not. I don't remember exactly why my move speed is so high. But is he planning to just go to the spaceship? I don't like his laughter. It's actually very creepy. Well, I mean, we could tackle his ass. So he jumps in. He doesn't jump in the first one. I don't actually know where he's going. He will not speak to us anymore. I could dismember him. I mean, like, I thought the plan was for us to go together. Okay, so he jumps in this. Yeah, all right. The pilot beetle is already in use by Berthram. Okay, so I just have to wait. I just have to wait for it to get where it's getting to. I guess I'll just stand here and pass time. I don't have any idea how many world maps I don't have any idea how many cycles it takes for us to do the world map movement that he's doing. Am I allowed to start a fire in here? Can you cook on one of these braziers? No. May as well whip ourselves up a little meal here. A loosened corroded circuit board, a proclaimed liberated clam, a marvelous wicked clam, and a modest distal clam. Boy, there sure are a lot of clams in here. Also, my golem can just walk through the wall. So when I put the piece of Shogruth into the golem design, it said that I would get either Iris Dual Beam at level 5 or Regeneration at level 10 or Astral. And I actually am kind of bummed out that I didn't get Astral because I'm not sure what it means. Astral by itself, just the word Astral. Are we going? What's happening here? It says the pirate beetle's already in use, but like, oh. That's weird. Okay, so our golem sometimes swaps us into the door spot. I assume if I went out there while it was traveling, that would be bad for us. But I don't want to let him get away. So I do want to just sit here and, you know, instead of like saying wait 2,000 turns or whatever. But I'm wondering if I've actually locked us in here in a way that doesn't actually resolve. And he's just laughing and doing a really bad job of interacting with this thing. All right, he is absolutely not using it. Okay, I guess we are. It looks like we were headed this way. Was this the plan? Not clear. Okay, he is coming out. You think you're getting away? I'm catching up. I'm faster than you are. Should I have taken him to see Reshef? Yes, right? Does he know how to operate? Was this like airlock here before? There's a bay door. Oh, he went down. I mean, enter, I guess. Vacuum-safe foamwood beams with the lingering scents of myrrh, star porcelain, and snow-powdered peaches. That probably actually smells really nice. Buddy? Okay, we're still not talking about what we're doing here. Just go through some space garbage real quick. Oh, hey, a cracked lens. Space hookahs. Floor cushions. Harps. So I guess the artificial gravity in here must be pretty solid. Communication ribbons. A triad of corded wires hang from a swivel, each headed by a 6-way speaker. Static in different octaves pours into the soundscape. What is down here? Across a field of vacuum glass and chrome diodes blinking. Yeah, okay. The magnetic torch smolders inside the hedron with the off gases of high fusion, and the chamber rattles with potential. And these are the piloting seats, presumably. Starflight monitoring operational. Starflight control operational. The glass loon exhibits spiraling arms and the endless sluices that course between them. Pinchers, sliders, whistlers, and dials array the bezel and provide navigation affordances across the manifold. Meanwhile, this one shows diagnostics of ship and star belt down the glass loon and into databanks. Belt is the verb there in that sentence, not star belt. An array of flips, swipes, and precision spheres flank the dashboard on curved panels and provide query affordances across the manifold. Well, where's the 3D headset? How are you supposed to fly a spaceship without a 3D headset? All right. Exodus launch sequence initiated. I guess this really was the plan. You sure about this, buddy? I don't know if he's well. Should he be flying? Do you want me to fly? I'm just sitting here waiting. Launching in 150. Yeah, no, I'm gonna... We're going with him. I can wrest the starship from him later if I have to. I'm pretty certain, having killed 2 of the Gersh Nephilim by myself, that I can take Barathrum the Old if I need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That said, there's no chance I know how to fly this ship, but my intelligence is very high. Another thing that's interesting about Cheesefries is that I actually I didn't think he was going to be an intelligence character, and I certainly didn't start with very much. And then in my starting village, or no, in a village I came across shortly after starting, the skill the mayor taught was Tinker 3. And so I was like, well, okay, that's funny. I'll learn Tinker 3. And you know, they give you a data disk when you learn a level of Tinker. So the one I took was Handy Nuke. So there was a significant portion of Cheesefries' life where the only thing he knew how to build was Handy Nukes. It's the only tinkering knowledge I had. Okay, so we took off. We have truly become Starfreight in this ending, and I'm curious to see if there's going to be a little post credits moment, little bit like there was at the other ending. It might even be something fairly similar, right? Because we left our some mangled version of our history behind in Reshef's tomb, right? I still had to do that in order to access Bright Shoal. So yeah, like there is more history for the previous character because we came back, obviously, to the surface of Cud after seeing Reshef, and presumably we did a lot of things and helped a lot of people. I sure hope so. And this character just disappeared. And so all of our belongings would have come with us. So there wouldn't be any artifacts from our character left behind, right? We were entombed with all of our stuff, and then when we got disentombed, I took it again. I'm a slime. Okay. Davish. Listen, pseudopods I got. Pseudopods I am on top of. I got night vision, all the strength in the world, and mental armor. Who needs mental armor? Basic kinds of skills available to a slime. Okay, this is very cute. What are the things that concern an ooze? Well, mildews, molds. Oh, mushroom creatures. Newly sentient beings, always a concern. Robots, you're never going to run out of robots. Smuts. They love to learn about the locations of dead things. Soups would love to know where you can find a slime bog. That's very exciting to them. With your spirochetes. Splayed crystal things that glint. Boy, am I ever not welcome in the holy places of the thermal acid files. They want to know about the thermos and the acids, and they don't want to know anything about my ass. That's really charming. Hell yeah, free copper nugget. don't want to sleep. Wait. Oh, there's a bedroll. Okay, I was gonna try to open the chest. Yeah, I want to open it. There's nothing in it. Do I eat? Eat compote over sweet kugel, dried star apples, and fermented yuckweed. Okay, I have to say I'm a little disappointed that that things are so similar after 1,000 years. It's definitely a little bit of a disappointment. A lightly damaged crib, but this village seems to be empty of. This shrine depicts a significant event from the life of the ancient Sultan Cheesefries. At twilight, in the shadow of the spindle, the people of Davish saw an image on the horizon that looked like a human bathed in starfire. It was Cheesefries, and after they came and left Davish, the people built a monument to them, and thenceforth called them Human in Starfire. That's a pretty fucking objectively sick name. Hi, it's the Amaranthian Prism. Okay. Is this painted by any chance? Nope. Nope, it's just a vase. Is this a piano? No, this is an Iron Maiden. You can see where I thought the keys were. Wonder what happens if you die during the ending. An engraved Iron Maiden. Acting against the prohibition on the practice of water fasting, Cheesefries led an army to the gates of Alakish. Cheesefries rescued its citizens, and in their honor, they smashed the perchfish aquaria. Why? I guess because they really didn't like water? What? I don't think anything like that happened. That does not comport with the Cheesefries I know, but I guess there's been 1,000 years of people being very weird about our history at this point. At a remote library near a Beetle demanding 4 fungicide grenades Mark III and promising a splendid vestment, Cheesefries met with a group of blind scribes, and together they penned the beloved codex, They Stretched Over Taut Muscle. I believe I read a book by that title. Listen, as you might imagine, Cheesefries in his career, in their career on CUD, read a lot of books. Had a lot of conversations with Sheba Hagarius. In the month of Kisu-Ux of 1001, Cheesefries was challenged by a pretender to a duel over the rights of fungi. Cheesefries won and murdered the pretender with a bedroll made of leather. This I can kind of believe. Usually I would murder people with an axe, but Cheesefries was very fucking good at murder. It was kind of like their whole thing. Just a mad axe murderer. After abstaining from drinking water for 10 days, Cheesefries cemented their friendship with the villagers of Alakish by marrying Chokes by Asphalt, the Sensible. That did not occur. So this is still the oh, that wire just broke right in front of me. Yeah, that's interesting. This is still Nakam's loom, because I did give the bizarre contraption to Nakam again to get the thing and actually use it, and I built like, I don't know, 20 or 30 light rails with it just to see, and none of them ever came out with anything terribly interesting. Like, sometimes they were engraved or painted, but it did not bestow upon them any qualities that I thought were particularly cool. And I was, at that point in the character's life, I was so powerful, I was like, what am I even doing here? Like, who cares, right? Here, of course, is the golem. So we must have come back. Right? Or this isn't CUD. Hard to say. Or maybe somehow somebody figured out how to use the recall pad to pull the golem back, or to construct an additional golem or something. The people still alive in Gritgate could probably have copied it, Pax Clank right there and everything. Very weird. Okay, well, I think that might be about it. I'm going to go ahead and hit... Oh, these power lines are engraved. I hit Auto Explore, and it discovered them. In the month of Kisu Ux of 1001, Cheesefries was challenged by an aspirant to a duel over the rights of the Merchants Guild. Cheesefries won and murdered the pretender with a journal made of brick. It's probably not a journal. That's probably just a story about Cheesefries killing a guy with a brick, which again is fully within their sort of remit. While wandering around the deep underground, Cheesefries stumbled upon a clan of the Frozen-Handed. Because of Cheesefries' dominant eyes, they accepted them into their fold and taught them their secrets. This is not how that happened. I developed Freezy Hands accidentally. Just sort of unstable genome fun. And it turned out to be pretty cool. Like, Freezing Ray, first of all, is actually just like a good thing to have when you want to get up close to somebody and hit them a couple of times before the real fighting starts. And very often I was able to like Freezing Ray someone on approach, charge them, hit dismember, and the fight's already over before they've had a chance to act. But a thing I discovered is that when you have Freezing Ray, it actually makes your melee attacks make things colder. And I was able to freeze things on a couple of occasions just by hitting them a lot with my hands because I had so many hands. So that was something. This object is a monument to a scene from the history of the village. As the years passed, the villagers of Davish lost faith in the mayor, and the village was vacated. Yeah, so it seems. The wisdom of Cheesefries was revealed to the people of Davish through the contemplation of quincunxes. Which is weird, because I don't believe I had... I mean, whatever. It's a strange game with a strange ending. In the month of Ubu'ut of 1001, Cheesefries was challenged by a claimant to a duel over the rights of the villagers of Kabash. This is the first village that Cheesefries appeared in. Cheesefries won and murdered the pretender by choking the life out of her. Yeah, absolutely could see that. Cheesefries was a monster. While visiting an obscure outpost, Cheesefries met with a group of soldiers and commissioned what came to be known as the Holy Night Vision Implant. I think I recovered a night vision implant that was holy to a village at some point early on, because obviously implants not of value to Cheesefries. While roaming the Westwise jungle, Cheesefries came upon a clan of Urshib while performing a secret ritual. Because of Cheesefries' coating of foul slime, they accepted Cheesefries into their fold and taught them their secrets. That's like a pretty good... honestly, that's a pretty good encapsulation of the whole, like, interpreting the spindle signal go to Golgotha part of our relationship, right? At dusk, under a marvelous and citrine sky, the people of Kabash saw an image on the horizon that looked like a boot bathed in citrine. It was Cheesefries, and after they came and left, the people of Kabash built a monument to Cheesefries, and thenceforth called them Boot in Citrine. That did not happen during Cheesefries' life. Alright, well, there doesn't seem to be anywhere else to explore, so you know what we must do. Yeah. There we go. Failed to extricate myself. Oh no, I can't get out. No, wait, I've extricated. I didn't mean to actually do it. Hooray! We did it. If I hit reload from checkpoint, what happens here? Okay, it checkpoints this character at the beginning of the village. That's very funny. I do believe it is time to end the game. So there you go. If Reshef survives, if Barathrum survives, when you get to the top of the thing, he steals the elevator and goes to outer space, and you can go with him. So I guess if you were to take control of the pod and take him over to the place where Reshef is entombed, he's just going to get in the pod and as soon as you give up the controls, he's just going to take it back to the spaceship, right? There's no way, I can't imagine, to get him over to that conversation. But that was interesting, and I'm glad that we saw. I'm kind of glad that I had that happen in the order I had it happen, so that I could actually see the conversation with Reshef, but then go ahead and follow Berthram into space anyway, because that's definitely the thing that that I think makes sense to do if Berthram is still alive. Especially after Berthram tells you that story, like, Reshef's not going to help you, but the starship might. Maybe. Or maybe you just have space adventures? I don't know. Cheesefries, I think, like, Nutria Dampcrest, it feels to me like, is much more the kind of person to devote herself to helping people. Cheesefries was a fucking maniac. And so I could absolutely see Cheesefries just Berthram's chanting working, and in the end they're both parading around the cockpit of the golem going, "Starship, starship, starship." Perhaps the most fitting possible ending to our time here with Caves of Cud. So I think that's going to be it then. I think that's actually the ending to that series. I'm glad that I got to hear the story from his perspective. I'm glad that I got him to refresh me a little bit on stuff that I apparently was supposed to know going up there. Stuff that we had been told, but that I did not remember because, you know, my brains. Yeah. Caves of Cud is extraordinary. What a fucking triumph. That's going to be it for us for today and for the moment. Like I said before, you know, it's probably not the last you're going to hear about Caves of Cud here on the channel from me. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that this was a fun little retour back into the game world for a moment, and come back next time for more new stuff. We'll see you then.